All right, welcome to the Empower Her Experience Sankofa series. I'm your host, Tanisha Miss T. Morrison, owner and visionary of the Empower Her Experience, where our mission is to be a bridge builder for Black girls and women, helping to release trauma, transform mindsets, and enhance their personal and professional development through various empowerment programs and events.
Love it.
Sankofa is an African proverb meaning reach back or go back and fetch it, pulling from your past to prepare for your future. In this series, I'll be doing exactly that. Over the past 7 years, there has been many different women from all walks of life who have played a very important role in helping me carry out my mission. Whether they were featured as a keynote speaker, a panelist, a sponsor, a moderator, a vendor, even a volunteer, each one of them has helped me make a difference in so many other women's lives, believing in the Empower Her Experience movement. I'm excited to have one of my first guests on the series, Miss Markesha Davis, who is the owner and winemaker of Chapter 38 Wine, here with me today to kick off our series. Winemaker Markesha Davis embarked upon her wine journey in June of 2018. Her styles of wine were inspired by her East African roots of Ethiopia and Eritrea, creation and introduced of her pear, citrus, and honey wine. This 100-year-old tradition was brought to life to pay tribute to her African heritage. Her wine was inspired by her late father, Charles Morris Davis, born in East Hollywood, California in 1952. So please, Miss Markesha, hi.
Hi, love. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you again. That introduction, though, for both myself and yourself, I love it. I
Thank
was
you.
inspired
Thank
listening
you.
to it.
Girl, look, we got to get into it because
I
it's
love
been
it.
a couple of years that we connected. Um, the last time we connected, it was in 2019.
Yes.
You were the signature drink wine for our champagne toast. And
Yes.
it was our relaunch event, not knowing we were going to be headed into the pandemic.
Yes.
It was a
Yes.
celebration, and everyone loved your wine. I want us to talk a little bit about that. I want us to talk about where you are and what has been going on since then. It's been what, 3 years now. But before we get into that, I got to do my hey sis, are you good? Mental health check-in,
Oh,
because
I love it.
that is
I love
very
it.
needed.
Thank you for asking about the mental health because I believe as entrepreneurs and Black women, we have so much on our plates. And when you incorporate the entrepreneurship uh, portion of that, that's a whole different ball game outside of what we already deal with in our daily life and daily living. So I took some time off in
Okay.
2022 so that I can focus on my mental health, started therapy, really kind of diving into more spiritual aspect of myself, finding myself. So it's still a journey and I'm still working through some past PTSD traumas, things from childhood and, adulthood, divorces, and, just trying to get clear about where I am mentally and spiritually and figure that out. So I appreciate you for asking that because it's been a different type of journey, which has allowed me after my hiatus as well to take my mental health more as a priority rather than, kind of set it to the side. So today is a good day in spite of the busy, crazy agenda and things that are going on. Today is very good. So thank you for asking that. That's important.
Well, I am just, I'm thankful and grateful to hear that you did take that time off. I know what it looks like to have to take a pause, especially going through a divorce, because the relaunch that you were at, it was a relaunch because I was relaunching my brand,
I
from
remember.
the divorce and just starting all over and saying, let's redefine what Empower Her is going to look like, stand for, and the company name itself. So
Yes.
I applaud you for also going to therapy. Us, our gender, our culture, Black people, African Americans, what have you. Sometimes it can feel like going to therapy is a taboo, but it's needed.
For
It's
sure.
needed in a lot more people should definitely take advantage of therapy.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. So our theme that year was activate your potential. So let's jump right in. How has that theme resonated with you in these past few years? Activate your potential.
Well, it's still activated. I still follow that same slogan, that same phrase. And it's important to follow or to activate your potential because you got to focus on more about what the potential means to you and what do you see yourself as a potential. And I believe we all see ourselves in that. But sometimes you doubt yourself and you question whether or not you're valuable enough or whether or not you're enough for what it is that you're trying to do and get others to believe in what you're trying to do, especially as an entrepreneur. So what I appreciated about the Empower Her experience was the love and the connection, the genuine connection that came about during that experience. So I've just learned to continue that potential. And during the pandemic, it again, everyone was surprised and everyone was scrambling, trying to figure out, how to continue to make income. And so I actually, in November 2020, I actually got fired from my job, even after catching COVID from work. I couldn't keep up with the volume like they wanted me to, which was absolutely ridiculous, but it was a blessing. So I got fired and jumped right into entrepreneurship. And throughout the pandemic, the business grew. So which was crazy. It was a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of fraternities and sororities reached out to me and they were wanting to do an experience with the Zoom call. Let's figure out how to get the bottles to us and let's all just still figure out the business. So that sparked a whole new journey and a new audience of people throughout the world. And because, you have deltas and you have sigmas, you have those fraternities and sororities throughout the world that you can connect. And so it was absolutely amazing. It sparked a delivery service in Houston, Texas. And I was able to I was able to teach my oldest son to jump in and help me with the delivery service. And my oldest son just turned 27. Well, actually not just turned 27, but he turned 27 last year. So at the time when we dove in, he was a little leery because he was trying to also figure out his journey with work, but saw the potential in chapter 38 where it was going. So we just kind of dove in there, figured it out. My mom got involved. My youngest son got involved. So it turned into a family business because of the volume. And because of that, I actually ended up manifesting in 2020. At the end of the year, I came out to Los Angeles. I was with family and decided, you know what, I think Los Angeles is where my business will grow. Decided to come out here, manifested it for the new year, went back to Texas and got an opportunity to just come here and stay. And my family welcomed me with open arms. And so in August of 21, I permanently moved to the West Coast to focus 100% on chapter 38. That sparked the first location called Soul Supreme Studios, where you can schedule an appointment to come pick up a bottle or during any event. If you're a wine member, you can schedule an appointment with myself or the owners of Soul Supreme Studios to pick up a bottle. And so I'd never done that before. So I'd never done that before. So I had to learn contracts, which is where my corporate experience really helped because I had, have my first degree in supply chain management in Houston. And so I had to learn contracts for myself, how to write them, terms and conditions, net 30, net 45. And that sparked my first contract with Soul Supreme. Then shortly after in 2022, February, Florence Fresh Market reached out to me for the same type of deal, the same type of contract. So now we're also in Florence Fresh Market off of Florence and Crenshaw. And so that sparked recently, February of this year, Black owned, what is she? So she has two different stores. She has a Black owned liquor store in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. And her and I have been in contact over some time, just trying to figure out how the cannabis wines and the CBD wines could be in her store. But we were waiting for New York to become legal. They became legal in 2021. February this year, 2 weeks ago, I went to New York and released my new location in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, at a
Girl, come
dispensary.
on with the blessing. Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yes, that actually was a different type of contract than the first two contracts. And so that was our first biggest order that we had, and went out to New York, had an amazing time visiting with those people there in that sector on the East Coast, which has now sparked Pennsylvania, conversation with Pennsylvania. So it's all Black owned, and it's it's a little overwhelming because I don't have the team. It's just myself, my mom, my two sons, and I've had to reach out to some friends, some really close friends who really are amazing. So yeah, I mean, 23, let me back up. So in 22, after my contract with Florence Fresh Market, I had to have surgery.
Okay.
I had to have a hysterectomy, so I had to take my health as a priority. So in June, I stopped, put a halt to Chapter 38, took some time off, and I had to turn away people. People were still reaching out for the brand, for events, all types of things, and I just had to turn it down to focus on my health and my mental health. So in 23, when it was time for me to jump back into the business, it's been nonstop. So here I am, and I'm ventured off into some more projects as well. I will be launching Chapter 38 Wine Academy in 2024.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can follow on
I'm just
Instagram.
like, come on with the accolades, because girl.
I've had Dallas. I've been out to Dallas a few times, and I've had great support there. And a few people reached out to me asking for training, asking for becoming a wine boss, or just learning more about wine. So my oldest son now is in wine school, and he's learning wine. And we're working on the new project for Chapter 38 Wine Academy. Because he's going to take over the business, and I'm going to focus on Chapter 38 Wine Academy. And then we have some other things that are venturing off from that too. But the focus with the cannabis and the CBD wines is more about health, with health and wellness. So we're also just tapped in with USC Hospital to talk about research projects with cancer patients, and seeing how the cannabis wine or the CBD wines would actually be a better focus and a better journey for cancer patients. So there's a few different projects that have sparked because of really, it's been in the making, but because of just focusing on more of the wellness side, because I noticed during my journey when I took some time off, the CBD wine really helped me with my anxiety and helped me to sleep. So then I realized the importance to really educate our community on CBD and cannabis outside of being a recreational consumption, actually understanding how it helps for our wellness benefits. So that's a mouthful.
That was a mouthful, honey. And I'm just like, let me allow her to just really pour all of this out. Like sit and really think about everything you just said. I mean, I heard memberships, honey. I heard family business, not just solopreneur anymore. You got the studio, you got the Florence Fresh. You done went from Texas to Cali, back to Texas, back to Cali to New York, hitting Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Wow. That is a true blessing, because I know when we connected in 2019, I think it was really on the cusp of you breaking into your business.
It was.
Right? So
yeah. At the time that I was at the Empower Her experience, I was still trying to figure everything out. And cannabis wine was so, in a sense, taboo, which is why I knew California would be a place to come and actually focus, because, of course, it's legal here, and it's been legal here for a long time. In other areas, it just wasn't. And throughout the pandemic, we've seen a lot of America turning the tables on prohibition when it comes to cannabis consumption. So I was ahead of the curve, and working to be innovative in that space, and it definitely has been paying off.
Yeah, it definitely has paid off and will continue to
Thank
pay
you.
off. So just congratulations to you for your hard work,
you.
Your persistence, your consistency, your perseverance. I think all of those things are
tough. Yes,
have played a role in
journey. Yes, I think consistency as an entrepreneur is tough, because life will life no matter what. And at times, if I could tell you what happened after if I can be transparent for a second, with going through my divorce, it was a toll on myself and my sons. And my youngest son took it really, really hard. And he had a mental breakdown 2 days after the conference. And I wasn't expecting that. I had no idea what facility to put him in. It was a rock and roll for about 6 to 7 months, but he fought his way. He knew mentally he needed the help. And that was during that time frame, I still had to ship out all the wines that everyone had purchased from the Empower Her experience.
Wow.
So we're in the living room at my mom's house. We're figuring it out. My son, even though he was on medication and, he still was sitting there helping. I have the pictures to show, and it's super emotional because through all of that, you got to understand what purpose you have in your journey and decide the consistency portion of it. And so that was tough, but I made it through, and with God, of course, and just the support of really, really close friends and family but consistency is what you said that I wanted to really focus on, because I believe that is just in life. Consistency sometimes can take you out if you aren't strong enough, and it could send you into a pure depression. So to be consistent in this space or in any space is important.
Yeah. One of the quotes that, or a mantra, I guess I will say, from 2018 through, I would say even currently, my mantra had been consistency and hard work is the only way out of the struggle, because especially going through a divorce, a lot of people, if they're not very transparent about it, they don't talk about the mental health, the depression, the not having the desire to show up for people when you can't really show up for yourself.
Yes.
Especially if you're a 9-to-5er and trying to start a business, side hustle or what have you. Divorce can be very tough, and I can only imagine what divorce looks like with children involved. So just really, applaud yourself for not only, you have to be there as a mother and show up as a mother, but then also figuring out how you're showing up for yourself, and then also figuring out how you have to show up for your business. And those people who don't know what's going on in the background, and it's still expected, like, girl, where my shipment? I pay for expedited shipping, so on and so forth. And they don't know that you're at home, in tears and pain and mental destruction. So just to know what you have gone through, and to see where you are, to see the strides that you're making, the strides that you have made, that is amazing. That is amazing, Markesha. And I don't know if you take the time to just stop and say, girl, I did that shit. I'm doing that shit. Like, I'm on a roll.
It's difficult too. And I'm learning to do that in this space. As I said before, taking the time off to, really go through some therapy and get clear about where I am in the mental space. I had to learn that because I am a machine in a sense. I can be a machine, and I was trained from my mother, no matter what, you keep going. And sometimes it's a good thing, but it's also important to slow down and smell the roses. And I'm still working on that because I'm a workaholic, and I believe so much in my brand, and I want to turn the tables for myself and my family. So I'm still working on that, taking time off, but I'm getting better.
Okay. as long as you take the time when it's needed. Sometimes we can't really take the time when we want to take the time, but definitely taking the time when it's needed is very important.
I agree 100%.
So I have a quote. It says, all wines should be tasted. Some should only be sipped, but with others, drink the whole bottle. And I think that Chapter 38 wine is one of those wines where it's like, girl, drink the whole bottle. Now, if it got the CBD in it, I don't know if you want to drink the whole bottle in one sitting.
Okay.
But it is, it's a wine that one is an acquired taste, which I think that all great wines are an acquired taste. And I don't want to throw out any other wine, brands that are, just, take a couple glasses, bottles, and all of that, and have a good time. But Chapter 38 wine is definitely an acquired taste.
Thank
So
you.
you want to talk a little bit about some of your um, some of the flavors that you have, some of your top sellers, and
Yeah.
what people that don't know about the brand, what are some of the top sellers that people are buying and loving?
So the wines are from a consumer perspective, wines are based on a seasonal basis, and that's kind of how I don't want to say that's kind of how I sell my wines, but let me just start off by saying the CBD wine, absolutely number one, is a number one hit any time of the year, but especially during the spring and the summer months because it's so refreshing. Our new CBD wine this year is now a THC free, and it's pesticides free, and it's vegan. So we're focusing more again on health and wellness with the wines. So I've been really trying to, educate um, the customers and new members about, the different, the reason that I went into that space for us, particularly, and just educating that side of the wines. But that is the number one seller.
Okay.
During November through Valentine's Day is our chocolate Pinot Noir infused with cannabis. That is our number one seller during that time of the year. So I have a lot of pre-orders. Generally around maybe June or July, I get more people, who come back and they're ready to place their orders for the holidays and for Valentine's Day.
Okay.
So we do have a pear Ethiopian wine, and Ethiopians generally have a honey wine, and ours is the same. The only thing we did was just threw in some pears to give it a different flavor, a more refreshing flavor. We have a citrus Sauvignon Blanc that's infused with 1,500 milligrams of THC hybrid, indica sativa,
Wow.
indica dominant. We went up last year on the consumption or the milligram in the bottle, just for a more recreational experience. But for those who are, maybe suffering from a more challenging health perspective, such as cancer patients, they need the extra consumption of cannabis in order to be able to have an appetite. In order to, like, a lot of times after your treatments, you may, feel like you're vomiting, or, you just don't, not up to eating. And this will allow you to eat, to gain an appetite. And it would also help you with nausea.
Okay.
So I upped the milligrams for that. And then, like I said, we have the peach CBD and we have the chocolate Pinot Noir. So at the moment, those are our four flavors. The Ethiopian wine it has nothing in it. It's just pure wine. But everything else is infused. So our grapes are sourced from Northern California to Houston, Texas at the warehouse now. We actually have a location where we actually produce the wines now. So
you forgot to drop that gem in there. You forgot to drop that gem.
Yeah, because I started in my kitchen with experimenting, and it turned into where, a location that we have where we actually go and produce the wine. So we get it sourced from Northern California to Houston, and we age and ferment all the wines there, and then we ship to every location wherever necessary. Majority wherever the states that are legal, that's where we ship to. So those for now are the flavors. Coming in year 2024, I am working on an almond wine and almond champagne. So I'll be going back to Houston because this time I'm going to focus on a producer that is going to be collaborating with me on that particular wine. So I'm actually really excited about that because I've had a lot of people who's asked me about, will I do a sparkling wine or a Prosecco or something along that line. So I don't want to call it a champagne just yet, but we're definitely working on sparkling wine. So with that being said, those are the flavors.
Add it to the mimosas.
Yes, exactly. So those are the flavors that we have currently.
Okay. All right. So one of the last things I want to ask you before we close is, what is some advice you can give to someone that may be looking to go into, winemaking, or being a seller, a distributor, or someone who is at a place in their business where, they don't see expansion, in the near future, but other people around them may see it for them? Like, how do they come into believing that they can move forward with being bigger than where they are right now?
I think what you have to understand is it's not about you. I think we live so much in our head. So take yourself out of it. You know, who around you as far as family that you feel would benefit from this? For me, it was my children. You know, I wanted my children's children to be influenced by that. So get out of your own head about when it comes to, well, I don't know if I could, foresee, anything in what I'm doing. It's not even about you. It's not about you foreseeing it. It's about you understanding what position you hold and what you're trying to do mentally. Mentally wrap yourself around that. Educate yourself on what it is what you're pursuing, and get clear about this is not just about you. This
Yeah.
is about what you're setting your family up for. I don't know everyone's family dynamic, and mine's isn't the best, when it comes to the extension of the family. But for me, it was about having generational wealth. And I know we all say that, but we got to
Yeah.
get clear about what that means. And it's
Yeah.
really about looking at your specific tree and who is attached to you. You may not have kids, and that's fine, but you still have to understand who's attached to it. Is it your ancestors? Is
Yeah.
it a grandmother? Whomever it is, get clear about that and understand that it's not about you at the moment mentally. So get out of it. Get out of your head and educate yourself on what it is that you're doing. Read, research. That is so important, because when you read and you research, you believe more in what you're doing. I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we know we love what we do, and we love something that we're passionate about, and then we go into business for ourselves. But have we really taken the time to research that? If I do candles, have I been to a candle conference? Have I reached out to other, people who are in candles? So it's more about the research, and it's more about self. So I want to be clear about that. It's not again, you got to get out of your head, and I can't stress this enough. And I think it's about just understanding who's tied to you, who's attached to you, and believe in yourself. You got it. I mean, we do this a lot. We doubt ourselves, and us as women, we go into the industry, we're wondering, well, are my prices too high? Well, if you're
Right. Yeah.
guessing it, if you're second guessing it, I am, as the consumer or the customer, will second guess it too. Believe
Yeah.
in yourself, get out of your head. And I too was guilty of that. When I started out the brand, my wines was only $20 at the time, but that was okay because that was where the journey took me. But when it was time to up those prices, I hesitated. I was
Yeah.
like, well, people may not. And and so I had to get clear about my research. I had to get clear about, why am I doubting that?
Yeah.
That's not about anything else but me being in my own head. So that is my biggest advice. Get out of your own head and do the research. It's out there. It's a lot of money on the table for all of us. And I don't care how many candle people it is or vendors it is. Your candles are your candles. Do the research, be innovative, understand what the past of your product looks like, and move forward with that, and be okay in that space
Yes.
mentally.
Yes.
And it takes time to get there. So I don't want to make it seem like, oh, you just all of a sudden arrive there. No, it takes time. It takes time. But don't over consume the thought. It's definitely not about you. It's who's tied to you.
Yes. So read, research, think about your lineage, think about legacy, and definitely pull those people in, as you said, your son and family members that you feel will believe in your mission and your vision,
Yes.
and fully see themselves within that brand. Pull
Yes.
those people in too.
Yes.
So excited for you. I'm so happy for
Thank you.
you. I do want you to just mention you have an event going on this weekend that I have been seeing you promote. So if you could just share a little bit about that event, that you're returning to. I've seen that you've done this
Yes.
before, but let's talk a little bit about that before we go.
Yes, so this weekend, actually, I'm teaming up or have partnered up with the Movement LA, which is a really good friend of mine for the last 15, 16 years. She actually is a fashion designer, and she decided to create this space for new designers, because at the time when she started her fashion line, it was hard to get into different spaces. So she decided to create this own space. And at the time when she found out I started my wines back in 2018, she had already reached out to me and said, I'll let you know now, we're going to do this together. And So that's where it's been. It's going on 6 years. This is her 12th year. This is my 6th year. So it's a great show. She does it every spring and in the fall. And I am the the wine sponsor. I apologize for this event. So it is going to be this Saturday at 6 p.m. It's actually going to be in the Crenshaw Plaza. The production is going to be super, super amazing. There's a great performances. Our wines will be there. We'll be doing a CBD sangria, which is a hit during Fashion Week. So we'll be there starting tomorrow at 6 o'clock. There's going to be red carpet. If you want to, you can follow the Movement LA. Go there, click the link in her bio for tickets, or you can DM me myself for any information about the actual show that will be on this Saturday. I believe there's going to be another show on Sunday, but we're trying to figure out the weather. So we'll see what that looks like. So every spring and fall, I am connected to the Movement LA, and that sparked so many other relationships, and I've gained a lot of other collaborations because of that show. So please, by all means, take a look at my page and you'll see a lot of information about that. And then there's going to be some special content this year around the Movement LA. And then next weekend in Houston, we'll be at the Houston Cigar Conference.
I did see that as well.
Yes, that's going to be a major look for us because we're tapping into the cigar industry. So we will be there the entire weekend, busy doing that. I have had to hire staff for both LA and Houston for both of these events that are coming up. So I'm really excited. This weekend, actually, I will be releasing my wines at a CBD dispensary in Texas as well. So I was able to hire some staff to take care of that for me while I focus out here in LA to make sure that runs smoothly. My oldest son is involved in that. My mom is involved in that. So they're holding down Houston until I get back next week to focus on Houston Cigar Conference. So yeah, like I said, it's crazy. I'm having to make some different. I don't even know. I'm thankful. I just put it that way. Yeah. I'm so thankful.
I can't sing, but if I could, I'll be like, let the blessings flow. Anyway, we're not. Yeah, we're gonna keep that for the karaoke.
Yes.
Look, Markesha, congratulations.
Thank you.
I am just so honored to have connected with you, all those years ago, and still just be in line sight of your journey.
Yes.
I'm definitely going to try to stop by for that sangria because I'm here in Palmer's Park. So, that's right next door. So I'll definitely try to stop by that. Next week. I know that the cigar event is also women led, right?
Yes, it is. It's not an empowerment conference, but it's more about women in cigars, what everyone in their spaces are doing, and the cigar community with women are becoming a phenomenon. So I'm actually really, really excited about that. There's going to be some special content around that as well, because that's a very new industry for women as well. So yeah, that's women led, and I'm really, really excited about that.
Yeah, I gotta do some more research on that and check it out, because the most I've done is just, take a little picture with a cigar.
Oh, cigars that's a whole
I gotta
well. Yes.
I gotta get some more information on that.
Yes. Okay, of course.
All right. Well, thank you so much for just tuning in and just being our guest and continuing to support my brand. I want to continue to support your brand. I actually
I'm so proud of you.
My auntie and her husband a bottle of your wine for their anniversary.
Okay,
so, yeah, definitely continuing to and I also know some of your affiliates. I see them, posting up the brand. I'm like, look at Markesha go. So thank you for just being featured on the Sankofa series.
Thank you.
Allowing me to just reach back and pull from those people who have poured into me. I thank you so much.
Thank you
for yourself, for your family, and for your business.
Thank you so much, love. And I'm proud of you as well. You keep doing this platform. It's so necessary for us. You started off with that relaunching. I am honored to do this interview because you're always been an innovator in your own space as well. So I'm proud of you. You keep up the consistency too. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you. You left us with so many nuggets. This has been so informative. And I just want to be able to use this interview to show people to stay consistent, work through perseverance, work through those struggles, focus on your mental health, and then get back out there and do it.
Yes, sounds good. I'm with it. I love it.
All right, have a good evening. Have a great weekend, and I
You
hope to
too.
see you this weekend.
Yes. Take care. Bye-bye.